Hi, this is A. Wesley. That ain't even tells it like a TIS. Like my video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe. The topic I'm going to talk to you today about, put my necklace back on, is Kandi and the Game. Uh, this was season 1, episode 2 of Kandi and the Game. Uh, and it started off with uh, with Aunt Bertha at the restaurant surveying the stuff, her and the other old lady gangs, and then it switched to Melvin, which is Aunt Bertha's grandson, and Melvin said he's the kitchen manager, and Melvin said he's the kitchen manager, and Melvin also lives with his other cousin Patrick, which is also Candy's cousin, and Patrick and Melvin lived together, and Melvin was cooking at the apartment, and Melvin told Patrick he's not gonna be cooking for him all the time, or he's not gonna be cooking for him all the time. He got to learn how to cook for himself. And so we come to find out that Patrick is the parking garage manager, and so that's how we got to know him. And then after that, Patrick was talking about I think Patrick said something about he had a girlfriend. Her name was Safari, but Chandrika had said that her and Patrick was in a situationship a couple of months back, but she found her a new dude too, and she even got an engagement ring with that. And so after that, it switched to I'm trying to do it. After that, it switched. After that, it switched to going back into the restaurant, and Brian, I think Brian showed up to the restaurant with an old lady gang, and so he was asking them. Wait, before that, let me go back. Before that, they showed Dominique and Brian going out on a date, and Dominique had on a pretty red dress. She looked good, and her and Brian was on a date, and they had a little chit chat stuff going on, and then they kind of seemed like they kind of enjoyed the date, and then Brian tried to kiss Dominique on the way out, and she put her hand in his face and said, "No, no, 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 we don't kiss on the first date. I don't kiss on the first date." And Brandon said, "Oh well, okay, I can go with that. I can agree with that." And stuff like that. And then it switched to the scene where Brian came back to the old lady gang, and he met Aunt Bertha, and she was there greeting people, and asked her what I'm supposed to do, what I'm supposed to do. And then Mama Joyce and Nora came up, and all of the old ladies from the old lady gang sent Brian to Phillip. They showed him where Phillip was and sent him toward Phillip. So Brian came in there and asked Phillip what he was supposed to be doing. And Phillip said, "Well, aren't you supposed to be a server today?" And Brian said, "Yeah, I'll be a server." He said, "Well, you serve down here in the basement." He said, "Well, I'm normally do upstairs and downstairs." He said, "Look, this a new management, new changes. I say you gonna work down here and downstairs." So Brian said, "Okay, okay." And he was kind of cool about it. And then when he left, Brian shook his head and said he was sticking the mud or something. And so he did. And so he also asked Brian. He said, "Well, where's your headspace? Because I heard last time you had kind of quit." He said, "Well, my headspace is all over." He said, "Well, I'm here to put your headspace in the right space. Just stay focused, stay focused." And so he said, "Well, okay." So Brian went to back to the restaurant. He started serving the customers, and he started asking them to write their menu down. And then somebody was too fast, and he said, hold your mule." And then Brian said, that's what old people talk about." And then Shamdrika said, "When Brian said, hold your mule, that means he wants you to stop talking." And when he say this stuff, I said, "Yeah, Brian sure is using a whole lot of old people sayings and stuff." I guess he got that from his grandmother, his relatives, and stuff like that. And then so after that, they showed the people in the restaurant, and then after that, they showed Chandrika asking the rest of the staff did they want to go out, for drinks and dinner after work. what you call kind of overheard it, Phillip, and he would say, "What y'all going out? Y'all going out after work after dinner?" Chandrika said, "Yeah." And somebody said, "Would you like to come, Phillip?" Phillip said, "No, that's unprofessional. I don't go out with the staff," which he's right. Management is not supposed to go out with the staff. Staff's not supposed to go out with management. But anyway, staff can go out with staff, but staff can't go out with management. But anyway, they all got ready and got ready to show up for the restaurant, and they showed up for the restaurant. For the let me. I think I'm okay. I'm not trying to go out. One thing I forgot to mention was that I'm going to go back a little. That Aunt Bertha did. Well, that was later. That was later. Anyway, they went out to dinner, and so they all. I mean, well, wait a minute. Before that part, uh, 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 I'm kind of going off course. But anyway, they had kind of, I guess, went out to dinner, and they were talking about the reunion and old lady gang, and what happened and stuff like that. And so Patrick showed up late. They were talking about Philip, and Torin said, "Well, I like to give people a chance. I like to scope people out myself. I just don't like to go on what people say. So I would like to meet Philip myself." And so when they got to talking about the old lady gang, and then Chandrika was saying that she only get paid $12 an hour, and she know people that work at Family Dollar that get paid 17, she would at least get 15. And when she brought that out, every YouTuber went searching this stuff for how much the minimum wage is, and everybody talking about what is 725 originally. Before Obama left in 16, it went up to $10. But what was happening, a lot of small businesses said they couldn't afford to pay those employees $10 like they couldn't afford to pay everybody $10. So what they did, the small companies who couldn't afford to pay people $10, they started them off at minimum wage and raised them up to 8. But the majority of the corporations and stuff were supposed to be paying these employees $10. So that's how that went with the minimum wage. But a lot of people just went by and did a little research just for Atlanta, Georgia. But if you're talking about different states and different states and stuff like that, yeah, the minimum wage is supposed to be $20, but everybody's not paying $20. I mean, not $20. The minimum wage is supposed to be $10, but everybody's not paying $10. So that's where the problem comes in, because some people are paying employees $7.25, some are paying them $8, and some are paying them 10. So yeah, you have to go by the state. But back on the subject, 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 I think Frederica was thinking that the minimum wage is already $15. No, it's not already $15. They're trying to get it to go to $15. But anyway, back on the subject, and so back on the subject, it went back to the restaurant, and then Torin showed up to talk to Don Juan, and he asked Don Juan, wait a minute. Before that, Aunt Bertha, she did come over there to see her grandson, and they were talking about cooking. He was talking about he loved cooking, and Kandi said that's why she wanted him to be a cook. And then Kandi said he already went to culinary school, and he said Kandi paid for his culinary school. And Kandi said she looked at him, even though he's a cousin, she looked at him as like a brother or a son. And she said Todd is too hard on him. And Todd said, well, nah, he's not too hard on what you call. He just want people to do the work. And then Aunt Bertha said she was grateful to Kandi because she was saying Kandi kind of helped her grandson from going the wrong way, and she was good about that. And then Kandi called Melvin at his house and told Melvin and Aunt Bertha that she want Mama Joyce and Kim to meet up at her house and have a meeting and talk about why Kim left the restaurant. And both Bertha and Melvin said, yeah, that would be a good thing. That would be a good thing. And then the next thing you know, they showed the scene where let me get my notes right quick. and then they showed the scene. And then they showed the scene. I think this was the next scene where they showed uh, I think this was the next scene where they showed where they showed Kandi. Well, no. The next scene, where they showed Phillip talking to his friend, telling his friend that he's stressed out behind that job and some of the employees and stuff like that. And then he said the employees think he's mean. And then Phillip asked his friend, and his friend say, "Well, yeah, you are kind of mean." And he said, "Well, I'm always a boss. My mom always told me I was gonna be a boss and this, that, and that." And then it switched to the next scene, and I think this was the scene where they showed Kandi, where they showed Kandi talking to her another aunt, Mimi. And then after she got through talking to her aunt Mimi, oh wait a minute, before that they showed Chandrika, they showed Chandrika meeting up with Torin, and they were all at his apartment, and Torin was telling them that he didn't get paid for that event that he did for the reunion, because they was talking about the reunion. And then he said, "You didn't get paid for it." He said, "No, but I'm gonna talk to Don Juan." Don Juan told me that he was gonna, yeah, Don Juan told me that he was gonna hook me up, gonna do something for me. And so he asked Don Juan, "Well, what I'm supposed to do?" And Don Juan said, "Well, you can walk over there." Because he said, "Why you ain't gonna walk over there?" He said, "No, I got other stuff to do. You can walk over there." So Torin walked over there so Torin walked over there to the basement to take measurements. Go to the basement to take measurements to take measurements for the basement for the events. And while he was taking measurements, Philip looked up and said, "Hmm." He said, "Oh." He said, "Oh, okay. I didn't think anybody was here." He said, "Hi, my name is Torin." And then Philip said, "Yeah." Philip said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, I know some people said that sometimes I'm unprofessional." He said, "But I'm learning. I'm professional." And then Philip said, "Yeah, just like you walked in and didn't say nothing." He said, "Well, I didn't know you were gonna be. I didn't know you were gonna be here." He said, then he introduced himself, and then he said, "Well, since I introduced myself to you, what do you do?" Philip said, "I don't have to introduce myself to staff. I don't have to introduce myself to staff. You staff." And then Torin said, "Well, okay." He said, "Well, I'm gonna tell you the chain of command is Kandi, Todd, Don, Juan, and me." And so he said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Well, yeah, I know all that." He said, "Well, yeah, you're gonna have to do what I say do, because I'm your boss. I'm the general manager." And Torin politely told him, "I'm here because of Kandi. Kandi asked me to come here and do it." And so I am so glad that Torin did that to Philip, because there are a lot of people that do that. They look at the main bosses don't be there all the time, and they employ me to do something, so I'm gonna do something. And so Torin told him right that it wouldn't be for Kandi, he wouldn't even be there. So I'm so glad that Torin kind of put what you call in his place. And then in his confessional, he gonna say, "I don't know how that guy thought he was gonna put me in my place when that's what I do to other people." You can tell that Philip is one of those men who don't like to be challenged, who don't like his authority to be challenged, and don't like to be challenged. But I'm so glad Torin did do that. And then after that, I think after that I think it switched to Kandi talking about talking to her aunt Winnie about what was going on with Kim and all of them. And so when they got ready to go to meet up, it started off with Aunt Bertha, and she was the first one showed up, and then Kim, and then the other old lady gang, Mama Joyce and Nora came in, and they all sit down and talk. And Candy said, "Well, I want to find out exactly what went on." And I want to find out exactly what went on, what happened while you left, Kim. And Kim said, "Well, the reason why I left, because Mama Joyce came around that time out, we need to get this blank restaurant together." and she said I didn't like that, and she was cussing, and she said this was her restaurant. And Mama Joy said, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that was my blanket restaurant. You lying. You lying. And then Kelly said, wait a minute, wait a minute, hold down. And then Mama Joy said, I wasn't cussing out nobody. I was cussing. She said that in her confession, and Nora said, yeah. And so Kim said, you did say that, you did say. Nora jumped up. She didn't say that. She didn't say that. Nora, and then Kim jumped up too and said, you don't know what you talking about, Nora. You wasn't even there. I was the one there. I was the one, yeah. And she did say that. I think Mama Joyce said that too, because Mama Joyce had a knack of throwing shoes at Carmen and doing everything. So I think Mama Joyce said exactly what Kim said. And then Kandi said, well, what made me mad, Kim, was that you said that you threatened to take other employees with you, and I didn't like that. She said they were complaining, and so what it was, I think both of them said a little something. And one thing about it, Kim did say if anything she did wrong, she apologized. And so Kandi had to squash that and intervene so they wouldn't fight her and Winnie. And then Mama Joy said, well, okay. And then Nora said, well, Kandi, I'm gonna have to think about it a little bit before I be able to apologize to Kim. I don't know why Nora is like that, but anyway, Mama Joy's talking about don't be wasting the food that she bought. And she bought a whole lot of chicken, and they went in the kitchen and they eat chicken. And then after that, yeah, after that, that's when the show ended. So next week, the show will be good. Also, they had the ratings out for Candy's show. It did go up by I think about 100 points because I think last